Am I the asshole for reporting my daughter's car missing after her stepbrother took it without permission? I got my daughter, 17, a new car 2 months ago. Her stepbrother, 19, has gone crazy about it ever since and has been attempting to drive it, but my daughter made it clear she doesn't want him to. He'd refer to it as our car, and would get mad when my daughter decorates it with pink and add teddy bears and necklaces as decoration. He'd get angry and say that she was ruining their car, and embarrassing in front of his friends, although she never let him get inside of it. I asked my husband to talk to his son, but he said that my daughter and I need to chill. Fast forward to this past Friday. My daughter called me at work saying her stepbrother took her car while she was upstairs after he demanded the keys and she refused. I called his phone but he didn't respond. I called my husband and told him what happened. I told him that he needed to go bring the car back or I'd have to call the police. He called his son, then called me back saying his son was just taking it to go to the movies with his friends and will bring it back at 9 p.m. I couldn't wait. I wanted him one more time to bring it back, but he stalled. I called the police and reported it stolen. My stepson was picked up from his location and brought into the local police station. We got the car back, but it was a mess. The decorations and toys in it were gone. My daughter didn't stop crying about it. My husband blew up at me on the phone for calling the police on his son and causing him to spend the night there. They both came home the next day and a huge argument ensued with my husband saying I made a mistake reporting the car missing and said that I escalated this situation and that I was the one who created it and should have got his son a similar car or at least told my daughter to share. Otherwise we wouldn't be dealing with his son's temper tantrums. The house has been full of tension since then and everyone is just mad at each other's. I didn't want police involvement, but seeing my daughter cry I just couldn't take it. This is weird. For the simple act of reporting the car stolen, when it was in fact stolen, not the asshole. For marrying and subjecting yourself and more importantly your daughter to the environment created by your husband and stepson, you are the asshole. Get a divorce and get them as far away from your daughter as possible. Exactly what I was gonna say. Right. The fact that the husband is gaslighting her is crazy. If he wants his son to have a car, him and his son's mother can buy it. It's not on original poster to buy her husband's adult son a car. We now know where his son got his entitlement behavior from. Not the asshole. You told your husband to get the car back or you'd call the police. He and his son ignored you. You called the police. No one should be surprised. Why doesn't your husband buy his son a car? It sounds like your finances are separated? Does the kid work, go to school, do anything responsible with his life? Man. He's 19. He's a legal adult and he stole from his minor stepsibling. Man needs to man up and figure out this tantrum shit isn't going to blow over so easily, and now he's on the hook for legal consequences because he is, in fact, a legal adult. I can't imagine being 19 and so jealous of a high school junior I stole their car and threw their teddy bears away. But Dodd, she's ruining my car. Our car. Whatever. I want an Oompa Loompa, daddy. Without teddy bears and pink girly stuff in my car. Stomp's footboy needs to go to the timeout corner. Not the asshole. I love when the husband says you should have either bought his son a car or told your daughter to share. I mean, or he could have just taught his son to not be entitled. Right. Also, why can't he buy his own son a car if he's that fucking worried about it? Op is definitely not the asshole and hopefully he's learned his lesson. Probably not, but I just keep calling the cops if he takes or damages it in any way. Not the asshole. Nope. Guess what? When you are 19 years old and you take a car without permission, that is stealing and it is wrong morally and legally. You have a stepson problem, but you also have a husband problem. This adult son should have been shut down on day one by his father for acting like this was some kind of joint ownership car. It was not his, it is not his. If he wants a car he can get a job and buy one or beg daddy for one. If daddy can't or won't provide, it is not your responsibility to provide for his deficiencies. This is a hill to die on, because this will happen again if this 19-year-old man doesn't quit with his entitled behavior and keeps getting backed up by his father. My guess he was already begging daddy for one and daddy gave him the idea it was a shared car to get the son off his back. Agreed, especially when the husband told original poster and her daughter to chill about it. Not the asshole. That car was stolen and vandalized. The son not returning the car upon demand was a violation of boundaries, but tearing down her decor on the inside for no good reason was spiteful and criminal. I hate it when people act like being friends or family somehow makes a crime not a fucking crime. What gives? Exclamation mark. I hate it when people act like being friends or family somehow makes a crime not a fucking crime. What gives? Like, if you're my family or a friend, I have higher expectations, not lower. You don't get a free pass on Grand Theft Auto. Not the asshole. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. He was told no, he was then given an additional warning and he still did not comply with your very reasonable request that he not steal his stepsister's car. Even more so winning stupid prizes now, because he's an adult and that's going on his criminal record. Closing parenthesis. Not the asshole. Your daughter and you both set clear, firm boundaries that the car was not a shared vehicle, but her own personal possession and birthday gift, purchased by you. Your stepson repeatedly stomped all over this boundary, disrespecting both your daughter and you, and your husband was complicit in this abuse. He should have sat his don down, firmly reinforced the stated boundaries, about respecting both other people's property and also respect the feelings of his stepsister and you. He chose not to do that, and they both just experienced what happens when they fuck around and find out. Honestly, original poster, there's really something wrong with your family dynamic. Your stepson is 19, he's legally an adult, and this is very serious. It was serious when he was complaining about how your daughter decorated her own car. It was serious when your husband didn't correct him in this "our car" bullshit. It's serious that your husband dismissed you when you communicated loud and clear what the consequences were going to be for his son. And it's serious that they are mad at you for daring to follow through with those consequences. The 19-year-old sounds like an entitled brat. Why is he still living in your house, berating and badgering your underage daughter and disrespecting you? The fact that original poster's husband is saying it's original poster's fault that they're now dealing with his grown son's tantrums that presumably he has encouraged the guy's whole life. Yeah, fuck that. He made the monster, he deals with it. Wouldn't put it past him that he's the one who planted this idea that it was a shared car in his son's head. Probably to get the son off his back about a car. Yeah, that had me wondering. Original poster, how long have you and your husband been together? Did you know that stepson has this sort of personality? Does he have a behavioral or developmental disorder? Also, is stepson included in the insurance policy that covers the car? We had a previous one where a stepfather would take stepkid's car that biodad had bought, and finally biodad called the cops reporting it stolen. Quite a few other commenters have also asked original poster how long she and her husband have been married. Do they share finances? Do they have an agreement about what are joint purchases and what are for their individual kids, etc.? Which all I feel like are important bits of information. I think the stepson isn't on the insurance for the car just based on original poster also saying no to him driving it and her specifically saying it was bought for her daughter. If that was her plan for it to be just her daughter's car, I wouldn't think he'd be on the insurance. There was one just yesterday or the day before where the stepfather stole original poster's son's motorcycle that she bought with her own money and was going to sell it. All because he thought motorcycles are dangerous. That original poster called that police too, and her husband also threw a tantrum about it. I will say regardless of all this, the stepson is too old to be having temper tantrums at not getting his way, and he's definitely old enough to know you don't take something after being told no. Even if original poster comes back and says she and her husband do share finances and she's been in this kid's life for a decade, I'll still say he's too old for tantrums. Not the asshole. Your husband and stepson are creating a hostile environment by ignoring boundaries, taking personal property, and invalidating both you and your daughter's concerns and feelings. You could give your husband the chance to change his behavior, and rein his son in by separating, taking your daughter and her car to a new place, and possibly your parent if they're willing to house you for a short while. You're going to lose a lot of your daughter's respect if you keep her in this situation. They are both mentally abusive, and way overstepping boundaries. Not to mention, staying in this relationship only mentally and emotionally primes the daughter more to be a future victim in her own relationships. He took a car against the express wishes of its owner. That's theft, and a crime. Which you would report were it anyone else, brother, friend, boyfriend, what have you. He's a bully. If hubby's so gung-ho about him having a new car, as well tell him to buy him one, or stepson to get a job and buy his own. He's 19 not 16. Fix the car, scrap the husband. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I'd press charges for him destroying her stuff too and seek a divorce. Not the asshole. You bought the car for your daughter. It's not like you and your husband went in on one car for your daughter and stepson. Your daughter has absolutely every right to deny the use of her property, and your stepson had it coming taking the car after she said no. Fuck what your husband and stepson are whining and crying about, and honestly I would divorce your husband seeing as he's literally taking his son's side after his son committed a literal felony. Not the asshole, you bought your daughter a car. You didn't buy your daughter and stepson a car to share. This was made clear to you stepson and to your husband. Your stepson ignored it. Your husband dismissed you. Your stepson stole your daughter's car. You called him. He ignored your call. You involved your husband for help. He contacted his son, called you back, and excused his behavior. You had no other choice, ma'am. You had to involve the police. Your stepson's father did not correct him from the beginning. He accepted him stealing the car. He explained you to as well. He excused his son stealing the car and his destruction of your daughter's belongings. He expects you to as well. You husband and his son do not respect you. Your husband and his son do not respect your daughter. Ma'am, these aren't red flags, they're 1,000 feet banners. Get a lawyer and protection orders. Now. Let's not ignore the fact that the son is a 19-year-old adult too. He shouldn't be throwing any tantrums. Something doesn't sound right with how he kept referring to it as their car. I wonder if the dad was telling him that they would share it? Not the asshole. He stole the car, and he damaged it. So yes, police was appropriate. I can't decide who is the biggest asshole in the father-son relationship.